Financial experts call it a perfect storm. For every dollar Canadians make, we owe $1.64. That is the highest income-to-debt ratio ever on record. And that's why tonight we begin a special four-part series on dealing with debt. Shannon Martin is joining me live in studio tonight. And Shannon, you've learned that we could be heading into some uncharted territory here.
That's right. So on average, Canadians are carrying about $21,000 in debt. Tonight, we introduce you to an Oshawa woman whose credit card spiraled out of control, but she managed to get herself out of debt. Early November and already pressure to spend.
I just have to be very cautious, and I don't buy a lot.
Elizabeth McNaught usually avoids shopping. Last Christmas, for the first time ever, there were no presents for her grandchildren.
I felt like I was cheating them. The older grandson knew that Nana had got herself in trouble and had to get herself out of it. A couple, I was overdraft. They were eating me alive with the interest rate on them. I'd only gotten them since I had separated from my husband. We'd always paid for cash when we were together. Even little emergencies came up and I got them. Next thing I knew, I was using one to pay for the other. I was well over 20,000, maybe close to 30. I was just so upset by it, I wasn't sleeping.
McNaught felt helpless, alone, but she's far from it. More than 70% of Canadians carry debt, on average $21,000. And that doesn't include mortgages or car loans.
That unsecured debt is not good debt. That means you have nothing to secure against it. That means it usually is higher interest. It's much harder to pay back.
Laurie Campbell makes a living helping people out of debt.
And interest rates are so low and we're encouraged to borrow, people do not feel the need to go into a strict repayment plan and get rid of their debt. Because in reality, many people are struggling and they're borrowing from the lines of credit, and they're borrowing from their credit cards, and they're borrowing from their home equity to live a lifestyle that really over time is not affordable.
So how did we get here? Work to the bone, mortgage to the hill, credit maxed out, never getting ahead. To understand now, we need to look back. Canada was once known as a nation of savers. As recently as the 80s, Canadians saved 20% of their income. Now, it's 4%.
We have experienced a cultural shift. What we want trumps our ability to pay for it. Today, you can put it on your credit card. Today, you can withdraw equity out of your home. You've got all sorts of ways in which spending is enabled and saving goes by the wayside.
Experts say that we should have 6 months of living expenses in cash, and we don't. That's too much money. I don't know where we'd get it from.
On paper, Catherine Scott and her husband do just fine. Their mortgage and bills paid on time. Sky-high daycare costs made it impossible for Scott to keep her career, so they're getting by on one income.
We save money when we can, and we don't have a lavish lifestyle. It's manageable as long as nothing else happens. So if the interest rates go up, it will affect our budget severely.
After 4 years, Elizabeth McNaught is almost debt-free. For the first time, she'll be able to save for her future.
I hope to be able to retire. I hope I'll have some money to do that with. We'll have to see, each day at a time.
Good for her. Shannon, how is Elizabeth doing now?
Well, the good news, as we heard her say, she'll be out of debt in just a few months. She did it by shopping less, cutting up those credit cards, and saying no to helping her kids. She says that was by far the toughest part. She's now trying to help others by sharing her story.
And probably help her kids and grandkids at the same time. What do you have coming up tomorrow?
Well, as we heard Elizabeth McNaught say, she'd like to retire, but she has no concrete plans. Tomorrow, we focus on what's supposed to be the so-called golden years. It turns out many Canadians, seniors specifically, are delaying retirement and sometimes outliving their savings account.
Great series, and I'm glad you're doing it. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks.